Hello and welcome to the first episode of our podcast, a podcast about everything real estate in the GCC in the Middle East. My name is Omran Sheikh with the Wolfpack at eXp Realty, one of the fastest growing record-breaking groups at eXp Realty, where we train thousands of agents to elevate their business the modern way using social media, personal branding, and success strategies. And I'm very excited and honored to have my good friend and colleague, Rakan Roth, on as the first episode is kicked off. Hello and welcome, Rakan.
Hello, Allah. Welcome, Imran, and thank you for having me. And blessed Ramadan, inshallah. Let's get it started.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited. This is such a long time in the making, and finally we're here. We're talking. As I mentioned, as I kicked off, this is a podcast about everything real estate. Now, there is a specific caveat that I should put here that this is a podcast that is built and made by real estate agents for real estate agents, right? So when we talk about the real estate domain in the Middle East, in the GCC, the perspective that we're taking is the perspective that real estate agents, real estate brokers, real estate consultants, professionals that are practicing the real estate transaction in the region would have on the state of affairs for real estate. So it's a distinction that I want to make sure that we clarify because real estate is such a broad topic, but what we really want to focus is that we are talking today with the perspective of real estate agents. And what we talk about has implications for real estate agents. Having said that, if you can maybe take a moment and tell our audience about who you are and where you are in your journey as a real estate professional.
Well, I'm 41 years old guy, and I work as a chief audit executive in a local hospital here in Saudi Arabia. And I've graduated from UAE, Sharjah University, which gave me a very good, let's say, awareness of what's happening in Dubai. I saw the development of the region in Dubai. And every time I go back, and my parents still do live there, by the way, and every time I go back to visit them, and of course I have to go and see Dubai. And in honesty, every time I go to UAE, I come back with an awe feeling. This is amazing how fast, how developing, how very service-oriented place to be. Even my parents, though, may God give them a long life, inshallah, and blessed life. They're considered senior. However, right. the place is very relaxed and comfortable and secure for them to do whatever they like to do and just to live a normal life. And I love the UAE. So, and I was fortunate enough to know you in my career life and to know our friend Abdullah Abdul Qadir, and both of you guys have a deep understanding of this profession and of this industry. And looking at the region as a whole here in the GCC, there's a lot of changes happening.
That's right.
Even in Dubai, like the fact that they are where they are today is only because of their continuous consideration of the different stakeholders' needs that are there, and being able to bring excellence in the process of assuring and safeguarding the let's say the
interests, the interests of the stakeholders.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the buyers, the sellers, the actual licensed professionals, the developers, the builders, the agents, the brokers. I mean, every stakeholder in a typical residential or commercial real estate transaction is thought of, and the guidelines and the regulations and everything are there to protect every stakeholder.
Absolutely. And what's amazing is now with the Saudi Arabia new vision led by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, I can see the transformation that's happening. I see the new developers coming in. I see the new quality of products that are in the market. There's a big change that is happening, and all of that is, of course, supported by a backup or a regulatory body that's developing as well to adhere to those same requirements. And it's really interesting to have Dubai and the UAE, Dubai specifically, to lead the way and give the whole region an insight of that methodology.
Yes. Now, in all fairness, though, I think, and you will probably agree with me here, Rakan, is that it's not just about having a regional standard. It's about having an international, global standard that is applied locally, right? And the real estate domain is, for the most part, in developed economies, a very mature domain, right? And the regulations and sort of the governing policies around that are quite mature. It's a matter of tailoring that level of maturity to the local area, local geography, right? So Dubai, of course, they or UAE generally, but Dubai specifically, they've sort of taken the lead on that. But I think with Saudi Arabia's oncoming initiatives to compete, not just on a regional level, but at a global level, is driven by global standards, not just regional standards, right? And going back to your journey, you are currently, correct me if I'm wrong, you are currently a real estate broker, a licensed broker in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes, I am a licensed broker in Saudi Arabia, and what made me take that initiative is I can see the wave of new regulation that is coming in, and I can see there is a huge opportunity that's happening. And I'm fortunate enough to have the luxury of doing this on the side and trying to get there as a real estate broker. And when I see what's happening in Dubai and what's happening with Abdullah Abdul Qadir specifically, and how he have, let's say, reached financial freedom, it's what motivates me to get into this profession. And
right.
In all honesty, it's a different place now in Saudi, and but it's heading somewhere. And I see that if I do master how are things in the more mature system in Dubai, I'll eventually be at the right place in the right time in Saudi Arabia, where I'm at.
So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Exactly.
Because I know you're committed and you're dedicated. But I mean, and I really want to break down what you have said a little bit more and try to inquire a little bit more into what you've said. Specifically, let's go back to saying that you have the sort of the support through myself and our good friend Abdullah Abdul Qadir out of the UAE, out of Dubai. He's obviously done amazing for himself. But as far as your eligibility to practice real estate in Dubai, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, are you pursuing a license in Dubai?
Yes, of course, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to pursue a license in Dubai. I've already got my national ID in UAE. And as soon as I'm done with the course that I'm now in the works of translating it into English by Abdullah Abdul Qadir. Hopefully that will give me at least up to 70% of knowledge of the material that I'll be tested on in the real estate brokerage test. And that would help me once I registered with a real estate brokerage office. And I do plan of making that move with EXP, just out of my knowledge of what's happening with EXP globally and what kind of growth they have demonstrated in terms of the shifting number of real estate brokers to EXP Realty, and in terms of the, I think, a brilliant system that allows the share ownership of the company, which is helping that share to keep on growing.
That's right. But just stepping back. So you are preparing for an exam that is administered by RERA, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority in Dubai, governed by the Dubai Land Authority or the Dubai Land Department. So once you pass that, you are then a license holder, and then with that license, you're able to associate yourself with a brokerage. So I guess going back to what you said about you wanting to join EXP Realty, and I think that's great. Of course, there's so many. I mean, it's a paradigm shift in the way real estate is conducted around the world. But I'm going to tie that back to what you said earlier, which is financial freedom. Right now, everybody knows that real estate is probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest, vehicle to generating wealth and attaining financial freedom. However, as real estate agents, the path to leveraging real estate to gain that wealth and financial freedom is not the same as, for example, a real estate developer and real estate builders and and how they leverage real estate to gain financial freedom and wealth long term and generational wealth. So this brings me to my question to you is, it's very interesting because the real estate license and the real estate agent profession in the Middle East is an evolving one, right? It's not as mature as, for example, what we see in Europe or North America. So how did you find, so you're a corporate individual, you've spent your career in the corporate world, and here you are pursuing a real estate license to practice real estate. Did you have any reservations? Did you think twice? I mean, what went through your head when you went through this? Were there any obstacles, any doubts that you had?
Well, yeah, I think naturally, because of the fact that it's still an evolving profession. Like, I don't know, have you heard any university degrees around real estate brokerage?
Yeah, well, in Canada, yes, but not in the Middle East.
Well, yeah, exactly. So the real estate broker profession in the local dialect, at least in Saudi Arabia, is called Dalal.
Dalal.
Yes. And the Dalal is the guy who guides. So the guy who tells you where's the way.
Interesting. So you mean, like in Arabic, in Saudi Arabia, in Arabic, the real estate agent or the real estate broker, as we say in English, is called Dalal.
Yeah, that's one of the names, not necessarily always. So usually who commits to a real estate brokerage job is considering that he is the developer, the owner, and the seller. So if I want to get into the real estate business, okay, I have this land, So I'm going to develop it. I'm going to create a product that's wanted in the market, and that's how I'm going to sell it and become a successful real estate broker. That's the whole scope. You have to have it all. And what I saw, the difference is in Dubai that no, you don't need to do that. Actually, the profession of just having the knowledge and the know-hows of how to execute a real estate transaction requires a lot of let's not say discipline, but professionalism to be executed, and that in itself, I think, is easy for me to pursue coming from a corporate background.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So because you've been sort of groomed to become a professional today, you're able to extend that sort of skill set, if you will, onto the real estate profession. And because you know the your sort of your persona type, right? Like your type of individual who has spent a career in corporate is now considering to make a career out of real estate. It's not, it's, you're early in that game, but I would assume that there are many like you who are contemplating or maybe already doing so, trying to get into real estate, having spent a career in corporate. So what's interesting to me is that here you are having spent a career in corporate, but then you are seeking financial freedom through real estate brokerage, or through transacting in real estate. Why do you think that's a better option for you?
I believe since coming from, again, a corporate background and all of the relevant skills that are there, including communication, leadership, and just the fact of knowing how to work with the team and present presentations to different stakeholders, I think all that are within the skill set that is needed for a broker to support any end of the transaction, like it's to support any client to be part of a successful transaction.
That's
and
right.
To be able to articulate and facilitate the different products, what are the benefits of them, and to be able to capture the leads, and to be able to adapt to the cloud or to the electronic world is much easier for me coming from a corporate background than anybody else. And the other thing is the demand is so high. Like everyone wants to buy a home. Everyone's goal almost is to buy a home. If they bought a home, they'd love to invest. And if they want to invest, it's nice to be in Dubai. And on top of all of that, well, what's interesting now and happening, Saudi Arabia just announced that will be opening the real estate market for foreigners to own. And that only means that more regulations are coming in place, more systems are going to be set up, and platforms, and that will only increase the demand. And I know how things are really changing around here, and I think it's not, or it's irresponsible for me as an educated professional to not attempt to catch that wave.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not just about, I mean, of course, there's an element of being at the right place at the right time, right? You're seeing a wave and you want to ride the wave. However, and I know you, right? And we've talked off camera, and I know how passionate you are about this and how sort of you're pursuing it, right? So for long-term sort of success of this move, it has to be genuine, it has to be organic from your core, from the inside, right? And that's who you are, right? You represent that sort of passion and commitment to the profession. And I love, how what you're saying, and what I'm thinking in my head is, right, like you seem like you're committed to contributing to the profession with your professionalism, and bring in your transferable skills to this profession, and contributing to making it so that, because look, ultimately, real estate and being a real estate broker is about, or a real estate agent or realtor, I don't know what the term you want to use. I think those are all interchangeably used for the region, but it's ultimately about representation of the client, whether that client is a builder, a property homeowner, or whether that client is a buyer or an investor buyer, a first-time home buyer, a repeat home buyer. Whoever the client is, it's our as real estate professionals, our job is to provide representation for their best interest. And what better way to do that but then bringing in all these incredible, awesome, very useful professional skill sets that you've accumulated over your career, and then utilizing those to provide that level of professionalism to your customer. So I think I definitely agree with you. I think you're here at the right time, and you're here at the right place, because Dubai, and we've seen this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's a booming real estate sector, and Saudi Arabia is probably one of the most underappreciated but most lucrative real estate sectors probably in the world, if not the region, obviously. So, I wanted to ask you, what challenges, as you are sort of embarking on this journey, have you already faced or you anticipate in facing?
Well, I don't know, maybe I'm just excited so that I don't see the real challenges yet. But it's amazing that just by having the intention of pursuing that path, I feel like I'm already in the business. You got relatives who are looking for homes, whether to buy or to rent, and I'm actively being part of that process, and I'm checking different locations out, and I'm trying to grasp an understanding of what's available in the market, and I'm of course following my mentors into what are they posting, what are they saying, and what kind of advice they're giving. And I can't find that anything so far has been challenging for me to understand or be a part of, which is keeping me excited of going through this process further.
Do you feel like this path that you're on, you have an intention to replace your day job ultimately? I mean, is that your intention, or do you sort of plan on keeping both the engines running at the same time?
I guess eventually I'll have to keep it at one profession, knowing that that profession have already gave me the freedom of time that I need, the luxury of lifestyle that I'm looking for. If it does that, of course, then it's easier than doing two jobs. However, if I do find out, and I doubt, if I do find out that it's not as financially rewarding as I want it to be, or I still need to master more to make it enough to carry the burden, not only the burden, but promise even more future rewards, then I guess that's the way to go. And I'm only pursuing this after I've seen firsthand in my relationships, as I said, that this profession can actually make you free.
I want to, and you bring up a really, really important point, right? And I want to make sure that that's driven in this episode, which is that when you become a licensed professional, a real estate professional, a real estate consultant, real estate broker, you are effectively the CEO of your real estate business from that point forward, right? Just like you would be, as an entrepreneur who is starting a business, you are now the CEO, the CFO, the CCO. You are everything, all chiefs of your business. And just like a new business requires the commitment and the time and the systems, the processes and the tools to make it grow, that's exactly the same process that you would have to follow to make your real estate business grow, right? So when I hear you say, if I find out that it's not going to be as financially lucrative as you had anticipated, that is a direct result of how you run your business and what you put into it. Because what you get out of it is exactly what you're going to put into it. If you have the mentorship, if you have the right tools, the resources, and the right brokerage, you can set yourself up for success early on, and absolutely, categorically, definitely reach the financial freedom goals that you have set for yourself.
Absolutely, yes. And as you said, when talking about the skill set, just the fact that I'm pursuing this as a different industry than what I'm doing, it only makes me appreciate where I came from even more, and
Right.
and strengthen those qualities that would help me in this path.
100%. Well, Rakan, I want to wish you all the best in this, and I can't wait to follow up with you and to have you back on the podcast to hear more about how your journey is going. Man, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you all for watching our first episode, a real estate podcast made by real estate agents for real estate agents in the Middle East, in the GCC, and the world over. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.